beginners and we sip champagne. What was you in the freezing cold? I was pouring the...
Bussy and I met, oh gosh, maybe 20 years ago, working out in community, in lots of Indigenous communities in Australia, making pretty much similar to the work we make now, but with young kids and elders and cup of teas and all sorts of things, where Bussy made music and I did all the dance stuff, creating small versions of this specifically for one of the first hip-hop festivals in Australia run by First Nations people in Inala called Stalina. So that's sort of where it began, and ever since then we've been collaborating on multiple works in the theatre, for community, on hip hop stages, like random events all over, and we've been lucky to keep going on what we call our World Pollination Tour now with Hot Brown Honey. Hi, talofa lava. My name is Lisa Falafi.
My name is Busty Beats.
And we are
Hot Brown Honey. So Hot Brown Honey started as a club night in the colony in so-called Australia. We had been making very kooky, political, taboo work across forms, multidisciplinary forms, and we really, it really came from a point of oppression going, we just don't see ourselves reflected, so what are we going to do about it? And and we also knew so many amazing honeys on the fringes, on the margins, who we were like, they should be centre stage. So that kind of is how Hot Brown Honey came about. And we then kind of went, Lisa and I went, it's time to write ourselves onto centre stage, and not just centre stage anywhere. We were like, we need to go to the biggest institutions in the country and the world and put our stories front and centre. Yeah, well, kind of out of the being able to perform with Hot Brown Honey and take our show to many places around the world. We kicked off our World Pollination Tour back in 2016 at Dublin Fringe Festival, and out of that we received an award from Total Theatre, the UK Total Theatre Award for experimentation, innovation and playing with form, and that kind of kicked us into this world space, global space, which we were really interested about too, because we were like, will our stories translate? And what we found was our stories translate. And then so many honeys from different parts of the world started saying, how do we get to be in work like this? How do we make work like this? And that's where the Hive City Legacy Project was sort of birthed. From our many years of experience of working with black and brown femmes, we went, okay, now we're going to formalise this process. And the first Hive City was in London, actually, in partnership with the Roundhouse, which brought together 10 amazing black and brown femmes, independent artists in their own right, to create a work which would sit in our world. Yeah, and now here we are in Dublin doing the same thing. Yeah, well, we were lucky enough to have performed at Dublin Fringe Festival in 2016, and out of that we started talking, I think even back then we started talking about this project that we would like to work with Dublin artists to create a work, and it's been many years of actually talking about it, lots of planning. And so part of the process is we have a call out, and we do a call out to black and brown artists to come on board, but it's not just about them having one skill. We always ask for people with multiple skills because of the work that we make. And then from there we realised there was even one of the artists who we're working with now had seen the show in 2016, so knew what we did. Then we started, beforehand we started doing the internet. Oh, what's happening in Dublin? What's going on there right now? And started reaching out and talking to a number of different artists that we had met previously to go, oh, would this work? And the answer is yes.
And I think part of partnering with organisations to present work like this, so in this case partnering with Dublin Fringe, is that we also ask them to look who's in their community, to do that groundwork, to broaden their own scope for what artists are in their community, like not just us bring the artists, you know, engage with the community, connect, to make a richer landscape that's integrated into the bigger institutions, I think. It's, you know, it's time that our work was centre stage there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we drove from like, we want our audience to feel something, like it's definitely an emotional ride. It's very fast paced, there's lots of dance, you know, spoken word, theatre, singing, original music that they've written over this time. Like, you know, we've pretty much written this show from beginning to end with them in the last 5 weeks or whatever it's been. So expect a really, like, I think if you are a person of colour, you'll see yourself there, and you'll see some of the struggles that we have in all the different degrees in which we travel through the world, but also, you know, just their immense talent and what it's like to joyously celebrate our bodies on stages. So I think that was the core for this work. Our joy.
Our joy, and like we like to say, joyous rage centre stage, because that's what it's about, being able to place our stories, and these are very specific Dublin stories, into that spotlight, and also to go, there is universality in these stories as well. We're connected to a global community with our struggles and our joy.
Just come along and see the show. They're incredible artists. You'll have an amazing time, and we hope you feel uplifted to, you know, make some change when you leave the theatre.
And part of the process is that you know, the collective voice as well. We take a lot of our inspiration and even process from collective movements. So being able to see individual stories as well as collective stories on stage is something really special.
Hi, my name is Jess Kavanagh, and I'm a singer, poet and writer.
Perfect. Tell us a bit about your background.
My mother was adopted. She was born in mother and baby homes and adopted from birth. And my biological grandfather is Nigerian.
Lovely. What are you hoping to transmit to the audience from the show?
One of the discussions that we've been having is about decolonisation, and decolonisation of the mind, and decolonisation of spaces and stages. I think as people of colour, especially women of colour and queer people of colour, we have smaller amounts of opportunities to have platforms to talk about our stories and our narratives and things that are important to us, but also to, you know, have fun, to have a sense of comedy, to have a sense of emotional catharsis. All of those things are so important. We don't get as many opportunities, and so what we are doing with Hot Brown Honey and with Hive City Legacy is finding a space and decolonising that space, and hopefully providing a narrative that will be important for people in the audience too.
Awesome. How was the process of curating this been for you?
It's been really interesting. Like, I'm used to being a musician predominantly, and there's elements of kind of theatrical elements to my performance, but I haven't been in a situation like this in a really, really long time. So the development process has been super interesting, and you know, our wonderful leaders, you know, Lisa and Busty and Rowdy, you know, they'll be like, I just want you to kind of, you know, write down some ideas about this, and they will say a name, or they'll say a word, or they'll say a concept, and they will start writing stuff down, and then they'll go away and then come back like with a piece, which is like amazing, and that piece will encompass all of our voices and all of our opinions and all the things that we've said about ourselves. And some of the times that we've been having to write about like what we feel like we have to be in public, or what we should be, and discussing identity and the complexity of identity as a migrant, as a mixed race person, as a dark skinned person, like what that feels like, and those shoulds and can'ts and won'ts and want to be and longings are things that we discuss within our show. And those moments we've been like, sometimes I've cried, a lot of the times I've cried, a lot of times other people have cried, but that's been like really helpful and just really cathartic, a bit like therapy.
Awesome.
Which is an amazing part of the process.
Awesome.
Yeah, so my name is Shauna Harris, and I'm from an acting background, and I am Jamaican heritage.
Were you born in Ireland?
Yeah,
or-
I was born in Dublin.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Born in what
lived
part of
here.
Dublin?
Blanche.
Blanche, lovely
Blanche.
place.
Yeah, lived in Blanche my whole life, so yeah.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so what are you hoping to transmit to the audience from the showcase?
I just want them to like learn, but like not feel like we're teaching them, just to appreciate that there's a lot that we have to navigate in our daily lives, and like just appreciate that, and appreciate that we're still rising up against it. So yeah, the show's kind of more geared towards like Black people and people of colour, so that they feel included and see like our joy, and that we're allowed to express all the emotions, rather than like trying to teach the people who wouldn't usually understand our experiences. We're not like trying to please anyone else, we're just trying to please ourselves.
Okay. What is the experience of curating this been for you so far over the last couple of weeks?
The experience has been like really good so far, like it's amazing. I've never been in anything like this, so it's like such a creative process and everyone's voice is heard. So there's a lot of workshopping, and we'll write down our ideas and they'll be like, yeah, that was a great idea, and use it. So it's really nice to feel like your voices and ideas are appreciated and then like implemented into the show.
So my name is Andrea Williams. I am from Cape Verde, which is like a small island country in the west coast of Africa. I speak Portuguese as main language because we were a Portuguese colony, but I speak Creole as well, and English and French.
Awesome. So tell me a bit about your talents, what's your profession, what do you do?
So I am a dancer, a choreographer, but I also do styling work, art direction, visual arts, so anything. I don't sing, let's put it that way,
No,
but I have to sing for
You
this
sounded
show.
great.
It was so scary when I realized I had to sing. I was like, oh my god, okay. No, but it's good to push yourself.
That's good. How long have you been in Ireland?
12 years,
Lovely.
yeah.
Okay, so as part of this show, what are you hoping to transmit to the audience?
Like the show, it's all about like our experience, you know, living not only in Ireland, but you know, in the world, like our experience of being Black and being brown or being indigenous. So what I expect to transmit to the people is them to see us, and to see us without filters, just to see the struggles we go through every day, but also to see how much joy we have. Even though we go through so much things, we are still able to hold our joy. Yeah.
Awesome. That's it. You're good?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're
Lovely to
welcome.
meet you.
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another thing about the show is all about our experience. So it's not like we are, it's not like someone wrote a script and we are acting on the script. We are actually the script. So we wrote the script ourselves.
I love that.
We are the script. Quote me on that. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
So my name is Tatiana Santos, and I'm from Brazil, and I've been living in Ireland since 2016.
Great. So tell us a bit about your talents.
Okay, so so we are kind of multi-faceted or whatever, and in the show we do pretty much everything. But my background is in dance, so I started to dance when I was 13. So back in Brazil, I used to be part of a company, and I stayed there for 10 years. So my background in arts is dance, but I also work here as a cultural mediator and also as a quality and inclusion consultant.
Wow, busy lady.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to transmit to the audience from this?
I think it's a good opportunity for us to break the taboo in many aspects. Looking back in 2016, I remember how we were not talking, especially of course, I'm speaking for myself. In my circle of friends, we were not talking about racism at all. My black friends, yes. People of color, yes. But outside, it has always been a taboo. Something like, oh, you know, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's so bad. But not much of an action being taken. So for me, I think the main goal is to call people to take action, to stand up, because this is a fight that we cannot fight on our own. And if you really feel sorry, if you really think that, if you really know that racism is a structural thing in our society and you want to change, you have to take action. I think that would be the main thing for me.
Awesome.
My name is Deborah Dickinson and I'm 23 years of age. I live in Ballymun, but I'm originally from Kenya.
Perfect. How long have you been in Ireland for?
All my life.
All your life?
Yeah.
Perfect. Have you ever been back home?
No, never.
No, really?
I got fostered, so I've never had the chance.
Right. Well,
But I hope to.
you hope to go back?
Yeah.
Great. What are you hoping to transmit to the audience as part of this show?
Just everything, like mostly like that with the negatives that's put with our, like the name that's put with our kind of like skin and our community say is like more than just what the words are. It's like we have feelings, we have emotions, and we also are allowed to be happy as well, and we deserve to be happy in this country.
What is the process of curating this being for you? How's it been? How is the process?
Oh, it's actually almost therapeutic in a way. It's like because we don't get to talk about it as much, and there's never the opportunity, especially growing up in a white community with white friends in a white school and stuff. It's like talking about it isn't so. Like I'm glad that I actually have the chance to speak on my experiences.
Hi, I'm Venus Patel. I'm originally from America and I moved here for college. I'm a filmmaker and a performance artist.
Okay, great. What do you hope for the audience to feel from this performance?
So I'm hoping that I think all of them get a level of understanding. I think especially for women of color, I want other women of color to feel represented in this work and that they see me and they know that, you know, there's more, but that, you know, we are being seen for the first time because usually we're not. And for just the white people in general, I just want them to understand our stories and realize that there's more than just this like blanket that they have around them. Mm-hmm. Because there's just so much ignorance that I feel whenever I talk to a white person here, they're just like, oh no, like life is great here, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just for you though, not for everyone else.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in Ireland?
About 5 years now.
Okay, and what is, in terms of your experience as a woman of colour in Ireland, what are like the contrasts between the States and Ireland?
But sorry, say that.
The contrast in your experience as a woman of colour between Ireland and the States.
I think a lot of it, I don't know, it's bad everywhere, honestly. I think what I just noticed here is that there's just so much more ignorance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it really.
So my name is Alessandra, I'm from Brazil. I arrived in Ireland in 2015. Mm-hmm. I am a capoeira teacher and performer. I'm an Afro-Brazilian dancer. And now I'm typing to the contemporary world as well.
Okay, so and for those of us that don't know, what's capoeira?
Capoeira is a martial art, okay. Afro-Brazilian martial art specifically.
So don't cross you.
No. And yeah, so basically capoeira is a movement that started in Brazil as a form of resistance of a people that have been oppressed. And you know, all this slavery thing that happened for 300 years in Brazil and is still suffering. Obviously, all the racism, it's happening everywhere. So capoeira for me was a way to connect with my roots, to connect with my ancestry. And yeah, and then when I arrived in Ireland, I've been doing capoeira since I was 13. Basically, it was a way to connect with my father because he was the one who used to do capoeira, and he was killed brutally in the community I used to live. And then I decided I would keep that legacy for him. And suddenly I started teaching, and then when I moved to Ireland, I connected very deeply in capoeira again. That was just kind of a way of remind myself of the resilience of my people. And then when I see myself in a new land, and I was like, yes, let's go again. and suddenly I became the reference of capoeira because I was the very first black female to teach capoeira in Ireland.
Wow.
And yeah, and now I'm more emerging to my dancing and exploring some other sides of myself as well as singing now in the show.
That's great. And what are you hoping for the audience to, what are you hoping to transmit to the audience from the show?
Joy. I think that's, we're always talking about struggle, fight, but we don't talk enough about black love, black happiness and joy. So I always try to bring this uplifting message for everyone I'm around. So yeah, in this case, obviously outside the stage there is a lot to be done, but in this stage I want to bring joy for people and obviously whatever they can take from it,
Awesome, thank you, that's it.
My name is Osaro, hi, and I run the Fried Plantains Collective, and I'm part of the High City Legacy with Dublin Fringe Festival this year.
Awesome. Tell us a bit about your heritage.
My heritage is all and none. It is, my dad is from land people, my mom is from the water people, so they believe more in Mami Water and love eating lots of fish. From my mom's side, if you're not eating lots of fish, you're wrestling. So from where my mom is from in Bayelsa, all the teenagers over the decades have won so many competitions because all they do is literally eat plantains to get iron and get all buffed up. And all the boys and girls fight each other and enter different type of communities based on whatever tribe you're from. And they've been winning over the years, which is kind of fun. So that influences me in sticking to the gym and being buff and toned because that's naturally part of who I am. From my dad's side, they're from the Oba people, so like over 1,000 years ago. The Oba people they'll be connected, no, the Oba people, sorry, that means that's something different. But anyway, from my dad's place, they're all Edo people or Isha. My name on Instagram is Iobasaro, which is an amalgamation of my name Osaro and Ioba. Ioba representing the first ever queen of the Edo people where my dad's from. The reason she got the title Ioba is because when her two sons went to war over 1,000 years ago, only one of them could be the Oba. One son had to kill the other, one brother had to kill the other, and the surviving one thanked his mom for helping him out during the political and civil war, and he granted her the title of Ioba. So yeah, that's where I'm from.
I love that you sound like so in touch with your roots. Clearly, so that's very important to you. In terms of the show, what are you hoping to transmit to the audience?
I love to transmit how fun and natural the experience is, because there's a lot of dark jokes there, pun intended. And there's lots of heavy beats and great type of dance troupes. Like a lot of us in the group are natural singers or natural seductive dancers. So we're both coming in to challenge ourselves to put ourselves in the other person's shoe and try and project our voices more if we're not used to singing or talking loudly, or if we're dancing, we're trying to literally get on dancers' feet if we prefer to talk or sing. And yeah, that's a really good way to kind of get in touch with parts of you that you thought you kind of gave up being when you no longer were a kid. Yeah, I think that is just kind of getting us to learn about the other person. We're a mix of migrants, maybe Afro-Brazilians, Nigerians. Some of us were born here. Some of us have family that were mixed in here over the decades. What I'd love to personally transmit to the world is that, we just like to have fun as well. It's not all doom and gloom. I try to focus on just the playing games aspect, the sensualness of how Black people naturally are. It's the way we dance, how our voice resonates, whether in different pitches. It's something that will hopefully resonate with people in the crowd, especially people my age, people from the queer community who feel like they have to always talk about how miserable or lonely things are, which it can be as well, of course. You know, it's important that for the sake of our mental health, especially after COVID, how lonely and isolating it is, and how it could be even more lonely seeing everyone coming back with their partners, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, and you're feeling like, oh God, I haven't anyone or anything. It's like, well, we kind of want to make sure that's not all the focus is about, because when we go home, we will always come back to that. So it might as well, when we're in this kind of space, or what we want to show people when we reach stage, is like, it's like going to the cinema to watch a fantasy. I don't want to go to an X-Men film talking about how, well, it depends, watching superhero films that talks about how, you know, certain subjects are preached back to you. It's like you're there to escape. So what we want to give people when they come see the show is just a form of escapism with people who look like them, people who sound like them, whether it's they're really shy or they're really loud, people who are queer like them. Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Awesome.